Who knows what we're doing at this point? So, Frank, I do appreciate your time today. And you are on the road. Where are you going?
I flew into Columbus, Ohio. I'm headed to the Kalahari Resort in Sandusky, Ohio. I think it's a water park and a theme park and a big conference center. And I'm speaking for a large safety association, the VPPPA. Man, is that ugly?
What in the world is
Uh,
that?
it's like the Voluntary Prevention Protection Personal Equipment. It's a safety association.
Cool.
It's actually a region of a much larger association.
Okay. So I was looking at your profile, and just to give my audience some heads up as to who you are and what you do. So primarily at this point, you're putting people on the TEDx stage, but that is not your history. You are by resume a stand-up comic or a comedian, and you wrote for the Tonight Show for 20 years.
That is correct. I went on the road full time as a comic the day after Christmas, 1985, and I was on the road for 2,629 nights in a row, nonstop, no home.
Wow.
That's 7 years and change, and that was December 26, 1985, and I asked my girlfriend at the time that December, "Hey, I'm going on the road to be a stand-up comedian full time. You want to come along for the ride?" Thinking she'd go, "Oh hell no," and she said, "Yeah." So we gave up the apartment, our jobs, put a bunch of stuff in storage, and we were on the road 7 years and change. And we worked with, shared the stage with Seinfeld, Dennis Miller, Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Rosie, Ellen, Kevin Nealon, Foxworthy, Ron White, the Beach Boys, Neil Sedaka, Lou Rawls. It was a great time to be traveling the road. Our mid late 20s to our mid late 30s,
Uh-huh.
just footloose and fancy free.
Absolutely. Is all those names on your resume? Can you call them up?
Oh yeah, every last one of them. No,
Really?
they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Most of them wouldn't remember me. Although Leno, we have 4 books on men's mental health that we wrote. A 4-book series, sort of a chicken soup with a soul. 12 guys in each book, 12 stories of
Wait a
tragedy
second.
of
Chicken
some
soup
kind.
for the soul.
Yeah, no, it's a chicken soup with a soul style book,
Oh, okay. Okay.
an anthology.
Okay.
Yeah, 12 guys in each book. They each have an issue, and then they tell how they are coping, so that hopefully a guy would pick it up, have a similar issue, and see how, in fact, he could cope with whatever he's dealing with.
Well, that sounds pretty cool. And
And
what's the name? What
and
are the and
and Jay Leno offered me a favor 11 years ago. "Hey man, if we need a favor, somebody I'd be happy to." So I called it in, and he did a blurb for book number 4. And I think it was the last week, I believe it was. We reached bestseller status on Amazon in 3 categories, and I think we were 5th in another. So, and we used Leno's blurb to, you know,
no, yeah.
to as a as a magnet,
Uh-huh.
the reason to do that. So anyway, I'm a best-selling author.
Well, awesome. Congratulations. What's the name of these books?
Guts, grit, and the grind.
Wow. I'm gonna write that down and keep it, and we're gonna find it all on Amazon.
Yes, they're all on Amazon. And if you want the first one as an audiobook free, if you go to my website, The Mental Health Comedian, you can put an email address in. You can download the MP3. I voice it. It's unabridged. The first book for nothing.
Cool. I will put that in the link when it goes in the description on YouTube and Spotify. That's awesome. So, how long have you been doing this stuff? So you're putting people on the TEDx stage. I don't think you're doing it as a comedian. You're doing it as a coach.
Yes, I got my first TEDx talk in 2014,
Uh-huh.
and I did it because I had been a comedian for 25 years. And
That's different. Isn't that different? Looks
oh
different.
yes,
Okay.
oh yes, yeah. That's why I did the TEDx to rebrand,
Okay.
because all the meeting planners and speakers bureaus thought of me as a funny guy. And nobody, I mean, 25 years of being just funny. That was my brand. I
Right.
was white collar comedy. That's my company, white collar comedy.
Right.
And so I had to rebrand. So I thought I'll do a TEDx and I'll do something serious. So I did my first TEDx was on suicide prevention. And nobody knew, my wife, my friends, my family, nobody knew that I was living with depression and thoughts of suicide. So I came out of the mental health closet on stage at the TEDx.
I
And
mean, really, just like that.
yeah, when my wife was getting ready to push play on the TEDx, when it went up on YouTube, I said, stop. I want to tell you about half a dozen things you don't know about me before you hear it on that TEDx talk on YouTube.
And how long were you married?
We've been married 35 years now. That was about, was it 2014? So was it 8 years ago, I guess.
So
But
you
we've been
hid
married.
your mental health issues for 6 years.
I I covered them up for 52 years.
Daggone.
Nobody knew. My family, my friends, my wife.
Daggone. Okay.
Uh, people with mental illness oftentimes are great actors. I have a Screen Actor Skill card, a SAG card, because I'm a really good actor, and we're really good at covering up those kind of things. So
But at that point, it was good for you to come out and tell people, not just for you, but I guess for other people as well.
yes, and again, it allowed me to rebrand since it's a very serious topic, all with humor. I mean, there's a reason they call it comic relief.
Right.
And it's not jokes; it's just funny personal anecdotes.
Okay.
I tell the audience right off the bat that they often are thinking, why a comedian doing a talk on depression and suicide? How does that work? Well, I think I'm a good choice because it runs in my family. It's called generational depression and suicide. Grandmother died by suicide. Mother found her. Great aunt died by suicide. My mother and I found her. I was 4 years old. I screamed for days. And I myself have come close enough to killing myself. I can tell you what the barrel of my gun tastes like. And then I say, spoiler alert, I did not pull the trigger, which gets a nervous laugh. And then I say, a friend of mine heard me say that about not pulling the trigger, came up after keynote and said, hey, man, how come you didn't pull the trigger? I said, hey, man, could you try to sound slightly less disappointed? So that's the humor, is just funny, personal, stories. And it allowed me, that TEDx allowed me to rebrand because what happened was that after the last recession, when the speaking business dropped off 80%, when we filed bankruptcy and lost everything in a chapter 7,
Mm.
when speaking came back, the meeting planner said, Frank, we love you, man. We just can't pay you $5,000 for 45 minutes of jokes anymore. You got to teach our audience something. Well, what am I going to teach them? I mean, that's something I always wanted to do,
Mhm.
but I never could figure out what I had to teach anybody. So Judy Carter, a friend of mine, wrote a book called The Message of You. Subtitle is amazing. Turn your life into a money-making speaking career. Well, hello. So I went into the book thinking I got nothing. And about halfway through, I thought, son of a gun. I came close to dying by suicide. There are more nuts in my family than in a squirrel turd. And if I get some training in suicide prevention certification,
Yeah. Yeah.
that could be what I'm going to teach them. That could be my learning objectives, learning outcomes, action items. So that's what I teach. I teach people how to spot the signs and symptoms of depression and thoughts of suicide, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say, and how to find help. And so that allowed me to rebrand that first TEDx. And then my next two, I actually got invited. Somebody saw the first one and said, do you have any more mental health topics? I said, oh, absolutely.
Wow.
All 7 of mine are on one aspect of mental health or another. And then I applied for 4 more and have just nailed my last one down last month in Plano, Texas. So each one, helps to build and strengthen my brand as a mental health comedian. And
And
people came to me after I did the first 3, other speakers, friends of mine, I want to do a TEDx. So I would help them through the process. And a friend of mine who's a business coach, we were chatting one day and she goes, Frank, I get the feeling you're coaching these people for free. And that's got to stop.
and
And
it
so
did.
it did. She helped me find a guy who helped me build, or he built me a website for TEDx, and he made a matching one for the mental health comedian. So the color scheme is, it's very similar. The architecture is similar. And I began charging, and I was amazed at how many people would like to have a TEDx on their bucket list. But you know what? it can help you get. It may not get you a booking as a speaker, but it can help you. Let's say you're up against two other people in your topic area,
Uh-huh.
and you've got a TEDx and they don't. I mean, there's a
Huh.
chance you'll get the gig because you got the TEDx. So I began to charge, and then a friend of mine in March of 2020, as the pandemic was really winding, cranking,
Yeah.
he said, Frank, look, the live gigs are not going to be here for a while. You need to put all your marketing efforts into that TEDx thing and raise your price. Okay, so I charge a lot for TEDx
For,
coaching,
for
helping
your
people get
coaching.
TEDx.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's when they ask me, I usually have to ask me. I give away half an hour free TEDx coaching session, and we can put the link in the notes, the show notes, so if somebody wants a free half an hour.
So they get to
And
have
but
a little, coffee time with you.
yeah, and we determine if they have an idea that qualifies as an idea worth spreading, or if it's an idea that I think I can sell, because a TEDx pitch is really a marketing pitch to the selection committee. And we can talk about some techniques and things to make it as attractive as possible. But they, my guarantee is I will work with you until you get a TEDx or we both die trying.
Now, when we
So
first had that conversation, I called you on that.
yes,
I,
you
I,
did.
I
And
called you on
I
that because you have a history of,
thoughts of suicide.
yeah. So how does that
Yes, and
work?
I've quoted you many times. I said a friend of
What?
mine, when I told him that, he goes, wait, 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 wait. I'm going to sign up with you. I need a side deal that not only will you not die, that you won't kill yourself before I get one.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were the first person ever to tumble to that of all the people I've worked with. One other person said it, but you and that guy, nobody else ever put the two together.
But you
So
give, because of your situation, you also told me that you give a special, you, you're, you're with somebody for life. You told me
yeah,
that in so many words. So what's that
yep.
deal?
Well, if you have a TEDx, I'll work with you until you get it,
Right.
or
Well, how hard is it to get it?
Well, it depends. I have clients who've gotten them in the first month. Average is probably 2 to 4 months. I have one client, two, I think, who one hadn't gotten it in 2.5 years and one hadn't gotten it in a year and a half. And I don't know why. There's no rhyme or reason. Good ideas, good pitch. Just haven't found the right committee, hit the right committee, the selection committee at the right time. But we're
Right.
continuing to work. And I've got a client who got 3 TEDx talks
Wow.
inside of 45 days. So it's a bit of a crapshoot. That's why we get together once a week for an hour live, 101,
Right.
and fill out an application or two. The big TEDx coaching company, which they're a good company, but they charge more than I do, quite a bit, a couple of grand more than I do, and they give you one-on-one Zoom, and then everything else is group Zooms.
Mhm.
And I don't do the group thing. I give you my 100% of my attention for an hour
Right.
a week
Right.
to see if we can't get you a TEDx talk.
So that's what you're devoted to. But what content or what topic are they looking for? Or is it anything? Or is what's really going to get you on the stage? Is my first question. And the second question is, because you just recently posted this, what's not going to get you on the stage?
Yes,
Because you
that's right.
said
Well, yeah,
there are things that's not
they're
going to get you on the stage.
yes, if you read through, and oftentimes the committee will tell you, and this is boilerplate. I think the Big TED provides them a certain amount of boilerplate descriptions and things that for example, they're not looking for motivational, inspirational speakers. So if I have a motivational, inspirational speaker, we have to do what they call hide the vegetables. We have to pitch it in such a way that it doesn't sound like a motivational speech or an inspirational speech. They are often foursquare against coaches. So we remove the word coach from anything we put on an application. I mean, you've been to LinkedIn. Pretty much everybody and his brother is a coach of some kind,
That's for sure.
myself included. Yeah, so
And me as an aspiring one, right? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's so they're not big on coaches. Some don't want professional speakers. They want somebody, just a civilian, with a good idea worth spreading. That's the premise, idea worth spreading. And what they love is an idea worth spreading and a great backstory. I don't know if you ever watch America's Got Talent, but they love a talented person. But if the talented person has a backstory like this, he spent 37 years in jail for a crime he didn't commit. He sang every day. His dream was to get on America's Got Talent. The governor set him free. He's here tonight. You'll never find. Yeah, so they same with TEDx. If you have a great backstory, childhood trauma, or you were involved, you were picked up in the sex trade, or doesn't have to be quite that dramatic,
Dramatic.
but yeah, traumatic, dramatic. But yeah, they're looking for an idea worth spreading. And you don't have to split the atom. None of the stuff that I've ever done was cutting edge, my research. I'm not creating nuclear fusion in the bathtub. Uh, I just went out and researched. I had an idea and I thought, gosh, I wonder if that's the case. And so I did some research and found out that what I suspected to be true was true. And then I created a talk. I researched other areas, other places, and put the information. So it's information that's out there. It's just I put it together in a way that nobody else had. Like I've got a talk called Mental with Benefits, the Evolutionary Advantages of Mental Illness. Because I kept bumping into people who were mentally ill, but they had some other extraordinary abilities. And I thought this cannot be a coincidence. And if you do a little research, you find there are many notable, famous, rich people, politicians, athletes, inventors, IT people. Bill Gates has dyslexia, and Elon Musk is crazy as an outhouse rat. And
I hope he doesn't hear
they're
this. Oh God.
yeah, they're so I here's how it starts off. I say to the audience, what if those of us living with a mental illness are not living with a genetic mutation, but an amazing evolutionary adaptation? And what if mental illness is, as Malcolm Gladwell says of such things in his book David and Goliath, a desirable disadvantage? You would never wish it on anyone, but it comes with certain advantages. And what if we could convince a child that yes, you have this mental illness, but guess what? You may have some mental ableness your peers cannot touch. I believe it would change the frame for the child, change the frame for their peers, reduce stigma and bullying, and hopefully use suicide over time. And that was the purpose. It was really for kids. It was really to change the frame for young people. And I said, guys, look, I don't think I'm broken. I think I was made this way. I think my depression and thoughts of suicide are simply the flip side of my creativity, imagination, my observational skills. I just think it's all the same brain, all the same wiring. I mean, it's got to be. I I scare people occasionally. It's called a cold read. It's something mentalists do, and I love to guess where people are from. And I have frightened people by saying, "You're from Eritrea, which is a country in Africa next to Somalia." And actually, it's been in one country and then two, and then one country and two. But they're like, hi, yeah. How do you? It's a gift.
No,
So, but it's
seriously,
the
how did you do that?
well, it's called a cold read. It's a technique that mentalists use. They look you up and down. They listen to I listen to the dialect. I look at their complexion, facial features, like the guy at the Hertz counter today. I'm looking at him, and I thought, Eritrea or Somalia? They're right next door to one another in Africa. So I just went with my intuition. I said, "You're from Eritrea," and he goes, "No, close, next door
Oh,
in Somalia."
oh wow.
Well, and here's how I did it. Somalia and Eritrea were settled, centuries ago by the Italians. It was one of those Italian colonies. So people from there look very much like Guido, but black. They look like a really relatively easy one. Some have been. I was coming back in the U.S. from Canada. I stopped U.S. Customs Border Patrol. The guy that decides whether you get back in the country.
Right.
And I handed him a passport. His name is Thomas. Last name is Thomas on his badge. He's black. And I heard him speak probably 3 or 4 words. And so I go to my intuition. I said, "Mr. Thomas, you're from Georgia," and he freezes.
Georgia.
And he goes, in other words, in the U.S.
Yeah.
Georgia, not Russian
Yeah.
Georgia.
Yeah.
And he freezes. And he goes, I am, but how can you possibly know that? And I said, you're asking the wrong question. And he goes, what's the right question? Why don't you have somebody like me at every port of entry in this country reading people? Hello. Because that's what I do. I mean, I read. I was sitting across from the guy in the rental car shuttle today, and I'm looking at him up and down. He's got a water bottle, and it's got all these stickers on it that are a variety of microbrew beers and wines. And he's wearing a wedding ring, and I thought it's his second marriage because the wedding ring doesn't look like it's got a lot of wear and tear on it. And then he's got these sort of woven bracelets that he's wearing, plastic woven bracelets. And I thought to myself, I bet he's got tats as well. And I bet he's in the spirits, beer, or wine. I wanted to ask him, dude, let me ask you a question. Just curiosity. But I do that constantly. I'm always trying to figure out, looking at people and thinking about what they do and where they're from. And, it's
Have
just,
you
it's
always
just,
done that? I mean, is that part of who you are?
uh, I didn't start doing that until I started traveling and trying to guess where cab drivers were from.
Oh.
That's how I got started. And I scared a guy one night so hard he slammed on the brakes. Uh, I get in the car. Our eyes lock in the rearview mirror. He says a couple of words. It's dark, but I can see him from like the nose up. And I said to him, and I don't even know where this place is, but I said, "You're from Azerbaijan," and he hit the brakes and I
Oh my
slammed
gosh.
into the. And he's, "Are you CIA?" No, it's a hobby. I guess I don't even know where it is. Are you sure?
I'm thinking one of
So
these days
yeah,
that's going to get you killed, man.
yeah,
You're
it
from,
may.
and so,
It absolutely
and this is on
may. Yeah,
record now. I don't even want to say that.
that's right.
I
Yeah, I
don't want
wonder
to
why.
jinx you.
Well,
I don't want to jinx you at all.
yeah, so that's again, but I think that's part of my mental illness. Is the flip side is the mental ableness. I'm extremely I'm bragging now, but extremely creative, and I feed that. Um, my creative time is usually first thing in the morning. If I've got to solve a problem or somebody wants a tagline for their business, I put that idea, the thought, I need a tagline for Anthony's business, and I go to bed. And Anthony Metten is the guy's name, and he teaches individuation, communication, emotional intelligence, which in the business world they call soft skills.
Mhm.
So Anthony goes, I need a tagline, man. I go, well, I'll go sleep on it. So I went to sleep, woke up at 3 in the morning. I texted him at 3 in the morning and with my idea. And he texted back, A, you woke me up. And B, did you think of this in your effing sleep? Well, the tagline was Anthony Metten, soft skills, concrete results.
Wow.
He goes, man, that is just and I can do that. I mean, it's a gift. It's just, it's just so now a friend of mine will say to me if they ask me a question, um, they need a tagline or whatever, they go, oh, listen, you need to go take a nap and get back to me. So I'll go take a nap. Yeah, a friend of mine called the other day and he said, I've just gone to work with this company. I'm managing a team. And the team is they handle people's mortgages. They sell them the mortgage and they service the mortgage. They don't sell it.
All right.
They don't ship it out to another company to service. They keep it all in house. It's called SPOC, single point of contact. If you call this company about your mortgage and say, did you get my check for whatever taxes? They don't say, hold, I'll turn you over to the tax department. They go find somebody who can answer the question. And they're on the phone with you the entire time. It's
Wow.
called single point of contact.
Yeah.
And so they're responsible for it all. And the name of the company is Ruhoff, Ruoff. It's a family-owned mortgage company in Indiana, I think. So because I need a name for my team, the single point of contact responsible for everything. So I went to bed and I woke up in the middle of the night
Can you only
and
do
I
this in your
thought,
sleep?
yeah, well, it's pretty much. I mean, I can do it when I'm awake. Sleeping helps though. Um, so I called him and I said, "Look, I think you should call your team like like a group of superheroes. Call them the Responsibles, and on their chest, on their avatar, is an R for responsible, but it's also the R in Ruhoff. So you use the font and type style of the Ruhoff on the R on your chest of your avatar as superheroes." And he goes, holy shit. And he took it to his boss, and his boss went, holy shit. Your friend came up with it? Yeah. So anyway, the point of the story is I just had this idea one day after talking to somebody who had some kind of special ability, and I knew they were, you know, nutty, and thought, could it be that they, the wire, something about the way the brain functions, you get this mental disability, but it enables you this superpower kind of, anyway, that's so you don't have to split the atom to get a TEDx. It can be just a really good idea, or you had an idea and you did the research and you found out it was the case and you organize the material in a certain way. They call it, you curate the information and you put it in a 7 minute to 18-minute talk.
Right. Wow. That was a lot. That was a lot
I'm
in 30
sorry,
minutes.
I was babbling. I apologize.
No, it was perfect.
Oh,
But go. What you got?
I was gonna say the 6 things you can do to kill your chances of getting a TEDx talk. A lot of people will tell you how to get a TEDx talk. I think it's important that I tell you what not to do, and here's why.
Okay.
If they get, you know, 200 applications, again, they're looking for the first mistake, for it to be boring, any reason they could find to throw you in the no pile. So you don't want to give them any reason to throw you in the no pile. So number one is, and I've heard this from selection committees, 2 words: too much. Too much, too many ideas, is going to get you thrown in the no pile. Number 2 is a cousin number 1. You have one idea, but you have too much on one idea. It's not a thesis. It's a TEDx talk. So 1 is too many ideas. 2 is too much on one idea. 3 is it's not creative enough. I got 200 applications to go through. Whatever you put in those first couple of boxes on that form better be interesting. And I work really hard with my clients to make it so. And I've had 2 TED Talks where they like the title and subtitle so much, I didn't even have to audition. Again, that's that creative touch. One of them was Suicide, the Secret of My Success, Dead Man Talking. Suicide, Secret of My Success is counterintuitive, and Dead Man Talking echoes the movie and book Dead Man Walking. And they love the idea. The next one I did was Mental Health and the Orgasm. Treat your depression single-handedly.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And they said, look, you don't have to audition, you're on. Now, bear in mind, 15 committees turned
God,
it
this
down,
is
but the
an adult
16,
audience.
yeah, 15 committees turned it down, but the 16th thought it was fabulous.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I think you need to be that creative because all these, they get them electronically.
Right.
So you picture them scrolling through these things. You have got to get them to stop the scroll. You've got to get them to go, what? One of my clients had a really aggressive form of breast cancer, double mastectomy. The title was How Cancer Saved My Life and My Other Fears Nearly Killed Me. Well, if I see how cancer saved my life, I'm stopping to read the idea, the 3-sentence summary or the
Right.
elevator pitch, and then find out why she's the woman to talk about this. So that's the first hurdle to get over, is get their attention. So too many ideas, too much about one idea, not creative enough, selecting the wrong TEDx coach. The company I mentioned charges more than I do, but I don't think they've got anybody on staff who's particularly creative. Yeah. A friend of mine signed up with him before she knew I was coaching it, and she applied 80 times, 80, and got no auditions. And so she called me crying. She goes, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I said, well, send me your application, what you're putting on the application. Let me take a look. And the I's were dotted, T's crossed, nothing really wrong with it, but it just didn't sing. I said, Amy, can I tinker with this? She goes, well, I got to lose. I mean, I've been turned down 80 times. So I tinkered with it, and within 5 applications, she got TEDx Beacon Street, Boston.
Wow.
Which again told me it's all about creativity. You got to catch their attention. So number 4 is not hiring the right TEDx coach. Number 5 is not applying often enough. People say, yeah, I applied a couple times at the TEDx is in my town and got turned down, so I stopped. Well, my clients, we apply all over the U.S., and if they want to go outside the U.S., we apply all over the world. There's 1,200 of them in the world every year. So you need to, it's a bit of a numbers game. We crank out 1 or 2 applications a week. And I guess number 6 is sort of like number 5. You just gave up too early. Oh, I know. Number 6 is you don't have passion for the topic. TEDx is all about passion. It's hard to be inspiring if you're not inspired. So a woman called me up and said, I want to do a TEDx on customer service. I said, I can't help you. Well, what? You charge? I mean, if I offered you the $6,000 you charge, you wouldn't help me. No, I'm not going to help you. I can't help you. Why not? I cannot take your money because I cannot sell that. I would just be taking your money. Now, if you came to me and said, Frank, I want to talk about the power of empathy in the customer experience. Okay, now we're talking. That I think I can sell. So you have to be really passionate about whatever it is. I'm passionate about mental health awareness, suicide prevention for obvious reasons.
Right.
So it's my passion and my purpose. I mean, when I go on stage, somebody said in a clubhouse room one day, how do you develop confidence on stage? I said, well, get up there and stand in your truth and you'll be confident. And so my tagline is, I'm often wrong, but I'm never in doubt. So that's the confidence of knowing what I'm talking about, why I'm talking about it. And I love working to answer your first question after all
I had
this.
a first question. What was that?
Yeah. Well, why coach TEDx? I work with some amazing, fascinating, passionate people who want to change the world. And I get to help them, begin that journey with standing in that big red dotted carpet, on that platform. So that's one of the benefits of coaching TEDx is just amazing people. There was a guy who was a cardiac surgeon. He went over to London, was riding a bicycle, had a bicycle accident. He went headfirst into a concrete bench,
Oh my God.
broke his neck.
Oh.
Fortunately, he can still walk, but after a while, his hands began to go numb. Well, you can't be a surgeon if your hands go numb, so he had to reinvent himself. And he said, I'm thinking about writing a book, or should I do a TEDx? I said, you should do both. And I said, the book should be called Life's a Bench. He goes, oh my God, did you just call it? I go, yeah. Or you could just call it My Big Break in London. Oh, but but he's a surgeon. I think he originally trained in Nigeria and he came over to the US and he was discriminated against. I mean, just great backstory, overcame the odds and then he's done it by a bicycle and a bench.
Concrete.
So that's that great,
Yeah.
concrete bench. And he wants to talk about health equity, about how if you're not, you're not upper middle class or upper middle class Caucasian, that the healthcare you get may not be as good as. And during the pandemic, brown and black people died at higher rates than white people did. So there is an inequity in healthcare,
Right.
providing healthcare. So great idea. There's a woman in IT. She worked her way up. She's got a huge IT company she formed. She has a program called something the 100. She takes 100 women at a time and trains them in IT. Because the only way you're going to get women in middle and upper management in IT is bring them in an entry level. And so that's what she's doing, train them 100 at a time. Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's one of the benefits of, hanging out with these folks for an hour a week.
Well, I want to hang out with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me get some money together, man.
Yeah. Get some money. Yeah. Because I charge it. Can I cuss?
No, you've been cussing. That's what I said. Thank God this is an adult audience, man.
Oh yeah, I charge a shit ton.
Okay.
I charge $6,000 right now.
And I try
to
keep this G-rated.
Well, shit ton's actually a unit of measurement in the South. I'm not sure that's a bad word.
So how much do you charge?
I charge $6,000. You don't have to pay it all at once. You can pay me a small deposit and then stretch the payments over 12 months and I don't charge any interest. I'm getting ready to go to $10,000. July 4th, I'm going $10,000. Yeah, well, people, I've only got so much time.
Well, never mind. I can't afford that.
Well, what we can do is remind me, and we can put a link in the show notes. A company came to me and said they consult.
Well, nobody else is going to want to go somewhere else. They want to go to you.
Well, but I created a 3-hour online course, same curriculum, just no live coaching, for $247. So,
but then they miss out on the creativity. That's why they come to you.
That is correct. Well, what we're hoping is they'll take the 3-hour course and realize, hey, I'm missing out on the creativity. I need to pay Frank the big money. So, anyway, yeah, but there is a course online. for 3 hours for $247. All the curriculum's the same. You just don't get any live coaching.
Right. Well, I'll put that in the link in the descriptions, and everybody will know where to find you and how funny you are. And oh my God, let's hope you get more clients. If you do, you should give them a discount because they heard it on the Question God podcast, and that's the thing.
I tell you what we'll do.
What do you mean?
A,
I
if they come by way of you, even if it's after July 4th, it's still $6,000.
dang on, really?
B, if they come by way of you, I'll invest in their success. I'll make it $4,000. And we can spread it like 400 down and 400 a month or 300 a month for a year.
Wow.
I'll invest the third of my fee in their success. And here's the way the deal works. They sign a contract for $4,000. Usually it's 400 down and 300 a month, 12 months, no interest.
Right.
And that $2,000 that I'm investing in them, we have a handshake deal. When you get your first $5,000 keynote, you cut me a check for $2,000. And I'm not going to chase you for it. It's not written down anywhere. If you decide not to do it, that's fine. But I'm going to invest a third of my
This is on
fee.
record.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I only offer this to, select groups. So yeah,
Wow,
I'll
that's
invest $2,000.
wow. Check that out. Well, with
Right,
that,
yeah.
Frank King, I can't. That's just amazing
I think if you do
because
the
it's going
TEDx
on
and
record. Everybody in the world's gonna know
yeah.
because I'm gonna tell
Well,
everybody in the world.
here's what, because I do TEDx coaching and I do speaker marketing mentoring, help you get prepared to be turnkey for a meeting planner to book you
Wow.
or speakers bureau to book you.
Yeah.
But I believe if we work together for any length of time, you'll get to the point where you can charge $5,000 plus travel for a keynote. And so, if you feel like, like I said, handshake deal, you give me $2,000 or maybe $1,000 from the first two $5,000 gigs or whatever. It's a handshake deal. I'm not going to chase you for it. It's up to you to give it to me. But I'll invest a third of my fee in your success.
And they have to mention the Question Guy podcast or Dr. Keith.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Where'd you hear about me? The Question Guy. Okay, you get the deal.
Sounds good. I know you're on your way to a conference, and so I don't want to hold you up anymore. I want to thank you again for your time and for even the laughs that I had in the past 30 minutes. It's awesome. It's always a joy to talk with you.
Thank you, man.
And give your talk the best.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure talking to you and your audience. And I'll email you the link to the $247, in the can online if somebody wants to have the instruction but can't afford. I did it so people who wanted the instruction and couldn't afford the live coaching, it's step by step. It'll walk you through the whole process.
Right. It's just not you.
Just not my creativity.
Right. If you could do me a favor, I want to take us off the record, and if you could kind of debrief for a bit, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. For everybody who's watching, we'll see you next time. Take care.